Thank you, Guillaume. Thank you, Damien. It's really a pleasure. I was not aware of this conference until we met very recently. And we discovered that this is becoming more and more important as part of the CFD community to develop robust, correct, performant, and efficient code, but also not look at only the final result, but during the process. How can we do this in a maintainable, efficient, cost-effective manner? And for this, automated testing is essential, is crucial from many aspects, from the source code perspective itself, all the way down to benchmarking, numerical correctness, as well as performance or efficiency when running on the machine. So here what we are presenting is Codee, is the tool we are developing. We are a company headquartered in Spain. We are already working with customers in the US and Saudi Arabia, in Europe, in Australia that have already adopted or are adopting Codee. For what? To enable automated testing of source codes written in Fortran, C, and C++, focusing on simulation codes, not other types of codes, and helping people, developers, and team leaders and managers to understand how to modernize the code first. This is essential to remove any correctness issue, any hidden issues that have been overlooked for whatever reason by the developers, and fix all of that before starting any optimization process. If you invest a lot of effort in optimizing for GPU during weeks, and in the end, some error arises, many times it's because there was a hidden error in the code. So let's try to invest more time in fixing that before starting any optimization issue. Okay? That's the proposal that we are bringing and putting on the table. So for this year, 2024, Codee has been developed for more than a decade. We have customers that have been very, very early adopters of Codee. And during this year, we have decided to focus on Fortran. Why? Because we see a huge amount of Fortran code bases all around the world, from very legacy Fortran codes that need to be updated to more recent versions of the standard, to other recent versions of the code that need to be updated with more modern object-oriented abstract features of the programming language, but also try to understand how to make the code portable across different systems. We don't want our code to just compile with a compiler in a system, so I cannot move it to another system. When I do it, things fail and I don't know why. So these are different, I would say, use cases that we cover, that we are helping with when we say Codee is helping to modernize your code. Okay, so it's not just bringing old Fortran 77 code to Fortran 2018, for instance. It's a wider concept. And also, this will definitely help to find bugs and even avoid introducing bugs, because we are not using the language properly. We are maybe computational scientists, we are good coders, but coding very efficiently and dominating a programming language requires a huge amount of time. So let's use automated testing tools that can help us to do that work more efficient, faster, and keep track of the changes in the programming language, in the tooling, in the compilers, to keep our code bases up to date from that perspective. And all of that to ensure correctness before starting any optimization issue. No matter if we're talking about porting to GPU, or we are just accelerating single-threaded code on a CPU. Try to fix any correctness issue, adopting modernization capabilities. So what have we been doing during this year? We have been doing a lot of collaboration with the Fortran community, to the Fortran Land Discourse, a very active community that I really recommend to engage with and follow the discussions there. And from there, we just talking to the people, we highlighted and understood what are typical errors or typical things that we overlook as developers, because we are running out of time to deliver our features or our codes in time, because we have projects, we have deliverables. So do we have any automatic way of saying we have a modern code? So we came up with top 10 recommendations for Fortran modernization. This is what a software development team should do to claim I have a modern Fortran code base. That is covering from compliance with the strictest standard all the way down to interoperability with C++, and in the middle, restructuring the code to restrict the visibility of the data in modules, avoiding global variables. There is a huge amount of things that we can cover, that we can tackle, address as part of this, what we need to do. The next thing we have been doing is we have been creating an open catalog. This is open knowledge that we have been curating, documenting, and structuring in a way so that you can understand the how. How can I fix modernization issues in my code? How can I fix performance issues in my code. So it's about structuring the knowledge, documenting it, and illustrating it with examples. So when you have what I have to do, how I have to do it, what I need, time, skills, expertise to apply to my own code base. Okay, and this is where the Fortran, the open catalog is covering not only modernization issues for different programming languages, but also optimization issues for different programming language, and even whenever we can, we are providing auto fixes. This is the capability of the tool not only to detect and say, here you have an issue. Yes, here you have an issue, and if you want to fix it, just run this command, and the tool will fix the code for you. Of course, this never removes the need of any software professional development team to automate and continue testing more and more robustness and more thoroughly your code. So in the end, we have the how, what, we have the how, the where. Where can I find it in my code? Here, this is something that went through my presentation when I reviewed it. For the WRF package, climate weather prediction, Codee in 2 hours in a regular laptop can find around the whole code base 30,000 issues. 30,000 issues that the developer should take care of. Okay, so it's a huge amount of time. So with Codee, what we have been creating is taking big code packages publicly available of different domains to have something representative of the code domains where you can be working here in CFD space. And also here you have, I would say, the global metrics from Codee analyzing thousands of files to tens of files, depending on the project, in just seconds or minutes, and reporting how many loops and functions and issues were actually found in those functions and loops. Okay? So here we have high-level metrics of, let's call it the technical depth. What should I do if I wanted perfect code? Okay? So in Codee, as a tool, we provide different capabilities: static analysis, reporting, auto fixes, integration from day one with CI/CD frameworks so that you can automate all of these checkers, all of these reports. And it's important that the reports need to be intended, not only for developers, but for team leaders coordinating the work to understand the trends. How is the technical depth reducing? It's not increasing. And also for managers. Do I have a way to estimate the amount of time that this automation can save? So we have created a variety of reports for that purpose. But the good thing is that today we announced Codee release 3.0 this morning. You can see it in the news and in Fortran discourse. And what we provide is, I would say, a standardized workflow to get started with Codee. This is about the interoperation with your build system. You have CMake, Make, compilers, many libraries. All of this is taking care of that setup for your build. This is starting with the technical depth that will be providing you key metrics that you can track, that you want typically to 10 to 0, saying that you remove a particular type of issue in your code. Then with the screening and ranking, you will get all of the details about each particular issue found by the tool. And finally, from here, managers will want to know, okay, how many hours is this saving for my team? And also, the developers will want, give me every single detail that you can get about every single check. And whenever possible, provide me auto fixes. Just a single command to actually fix the issue. Okay? So this simplified workflow applies and covers the needs of different types of roles in professional software development teams. Let me give you some examples very quickly. Invoking Codee is something like Codee technical depth and your code. And you will get kind of a score and the affected portions of your code that suffer from a particular issue. Okay? The screening report will provide you from all of those issues found in the code, the 10, will provide you a ranking of the details, how many times the different rules of the open catalog appear in your code. So still you have kind of a rank of for higher to lower priority where you should put your attention. Of course, it's up to the development team to decide how to implement them, but at least it's a guidance. This is what we are trying to provide here. And finally, the ROI is how can we translate this into saving of hours? Because in the end, this gives more freedom to the same developers to accommodate development more features faster. This is good for the software development process. Okay. As part of the presentation, I want to show you some snapshots of a demo we do live. That is, how can we integrate Codee in CI/CD frameworks? So here we have picked up different projects. Here you can see the typical job that you can set up with different Codee invocations, providing you special options and special environment variables for you to control how to run in your particular setup. But at least you can change different Codee invocations to produce the reports that you want. The same reports you had on the command line interface, you can see them in somehow HTML format. And of course, very important for CI/CD, you can export it to formats like JSON, where you can post-process this and plot nice graphs with trends, everything that the team leader or the software development leader decides that is important for him to keep track of the software development process. Okay. So just to give you, again, I want to emphasize that Codee is production level. It's been adopted and is running with large code bases with real codes like Word, Open Radios, with thousands of files analyzed in minutes. So here you can see an example, a real example of the technical depth report using the integration with the build system. It's a special syntax, very easy to use, and the type of report that you get obtaining, in this case, a huge amount of time, issues affecting thousands of files. Depending on the legacy code that you have, how long it has not been maintained, each code is completely different. Here we have kind of I would say, a screening, an idea of what is the amount or type of technical depth that I have, so that you can then later tackle each problem specifically with a plan. Here is the type of the ranking report. Again, similar invocation, just changing the command from technical depth to screening, and you get way more details per file and globals of all the ranking of the checkers that were found, and how many times, look at here, 16,000 times appear in a large code base. These are things that can happen, okay? So you cannot think of a development team addressing them all at the same time, but the tool provides you all the options to control the different types of checkers so that you can break down this in smaller tasks, fixing components, fixing files, fixing types of issues identified by the tool. All of that has been taken into consideration from day one. And finally, maybe more relevant for managers, can I do an estimation of how many hours can this save through this level of automation that Codee is providing in detecting issues, but also in fixing issues? This is difficult to estimate, but at least we are trying to provide a guidance on the amount of work that this kind of automation can save. Because it's also a good argument for software development teams to convince the organization to adopt these kind of tools. So finally, to finish my presentation, conclusion takeaways. Simulation software in Fortran C and C++ demands high speed. You want to run very efficiently, very fast on the CPU and the GPU side, for instance, but you also need to maintain the code. These are typically code bases that span for different generations of supercomputers, so for many years or many decades. So Fortran modernization is also a must. Before starting any optimization issue, you want to find any hidden issue that you can detect automatically or with the expertise of your team, related to usage of new, very latest features of the language, avoiding use of very legacy old Fortran code that can prevent the compiler from doing optimization that otherwise would provide you way more performance on a modern environment, or creating the code so that it is portable across compilers. Okay. So in Codee, we are focusing, as I told you, in Fortran code bases. If you are maintaining Fortran codes with some C++ components for interoperability, maybe you want to take a look at what Codee can offer for you in order to help you ensure correctness to find those hidden bugs before starting any optimization issue. And finally, very important, Codee has been designed from day one looking at tools that exist like this in other programming environment, that is, the devices that we are using at Drone needs to develop C++ Fortran code that is secure, that is compliant with coding standards. In those markets, we have these professional software tools to find, with a similar approach, security issues, compliant issues to help developers. So Codee, for the first time, is bringing this to performance modernization in simulation software, particularly in CFD. Okay? So how can we show value? You can only see the value just testing the tool. Okay? Just contact us if you're interested. But at least to create the trust, we are planning to provide from here to the supercomputing conference in the US in Atlanta in November, different success stories with Word, Ficon, FastAD, CP2K, Open Radios, very well-known community codes to show that Codee is production ready and is really helping software developers that are working with these large code bases. Okay, and that's it. I hope I will stuck to the 15 minutes. Thank you very much.